Hello and welcome, everyone. Are you unable to communicate effectively with loved ones because you're upset or you're angry or you self-silence? That totally tarnishes your personal brand and who people see you as. And today we're welcoming Dhruti from Kenya. Hi, Dhruti.
Hi, Hina. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Great. And Dhruti, this is something for you that was impacting every area of your life. You're a Kenyan businesswoman, you're an entrepreneur, an adventurer, a mum, a new auntie, and a coach. And I know we've been talking recently about anger and upset and how sometimes there's no way back when you're in a relationship or a collaboration or a partnership. All cooperation is killed off when this anger and upset arises. And you can see how you want to convey your message, and yet you can't have a positive impact because of the space that you're in. So you shared something really beautiful with me about an interaction that you had with your husband, Bhavish. So I'd love for you to share more about that.
Thank you, Hina. Before I go into that, I wanted to paint a picture of how I was before Healthy Relationship Program. I was always angry and upset, like all the time. People, like my loved ones around me, were always walking on eggshells. They didn't know when I was going to go off. And there was this time I clearly remember, and I think that was the point where I remember I had to do something in my life. Like my son, I was screaming at him, and it might have been something very little that they must have done, but obviously I was removing some other, anger from somewhere else onto the kids. So he just went like this, and he was shivering. And at that point, I felt something had to be done, but I didn't know what. I didn't know how I was going to learn where this anger is coming from, how I can shift. Until then, I thought it was other people. It wasn't even me.
Yeah.
That you know what I mean, yeah?
As in other people that were responsible for the anger.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that their actions were making me angry, that it wasn't my fault, that
yes.
I didn't have to,
they created it. It's a you problem, not a me problem.
Exactly. I was perfect.
I got it.
But so I signed up to the Healthy Relationship Program thinking that, my life is beautiful. All the relationship in my life were perfect. I don't even need to do this, but let's see what this has to offer.
Yeah. So it's more out of curiosity than actually there's something that I want to take on for myself. I'm just curious. I'm going to come and take a look.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what is this program going to do for me? But then when I finished, oh my God, my mind was blown. I was like, what? I worked through so many of my mental toxins. Like, I understood that I was always operating, from anger and obviously attachment as well, and where these triggers were coming from, I always felt I wasn't heard, I was never heard. And when I'm not heard, my first reaction is to just scream.
Yes, to shout louder. You're not hearing me. I'm going to make myself heard.
Exactly. So shouting, then what that did to other people was they also switched off. And now I'm shouting even louder and getting more angry. And this affected my relationship with my, siblings, my kids, definitely, my husband. And it wasn't a good place to be in. No.
Yeah. So sometimes something happens, there's a stimuli, a perceived fear of or something out there that's happening to us, and we respond, we get triggered, there's something going on for us, and we think, I'm not heard. And it relates to a time when we were younger, when we were a child perhaps, and something happened and we didn't feel, in your case, you didn't feel heard. But it could be anything from, I'm not loved, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm a nobody, I'm not seen. And what you discovered for yourself was that you're not heard. And how
Correct.
you responded to that was through a toxin of anger, through a toxin of attachment, maybe to an outcome or to someone in your life, or to money or to success.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, anger was also killing me slowly. And also, you know, I at one point I was addicted to shisha. After kids go to sleep, I would like light a shisha up every day until my husband intervened and said, what are you, like, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
And
So you became attached to the shisha to dissipate the anger.
yeah, and the frustration, and you know, and I then obviously decorated it as me time to feel good about what I was doing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
deep down we know it's wrong.
Yeah.
And then once I gave up shisha, I went on to having, after everybody would sleep, I would make a cup of tea and down a whole packet of biscuits with it.
Wow.
So replace
then
one with the other.
Yeah, then it progressed into the emotional eating. So
Exactly.
I'm totally getting how it was affecting you, and how was it
Yes.
affecting like your husband and the kids?
So now, me getting angry, obviously they were not able to express themselves. They were not being 100% with me. You know, my kids were always scared. So they would be okay with the nanny and, you know, their grandparents and everybody. But as soon as I walk in, they'll be like, you know,
They
their
didn't
guards
want to
up.
provoke you. They didn't want to provoke a reaction.
Yes. And if they're not feeling safe with me,
Yeah.
then I'm totally failing as a mom.
Mm. And
Right?
that whole sense of connection and
Yes,
communication and
exactly.
closeness was missing from your
Yeah,
life.
exactly. But anyways, I want to share my breakthrough that happened
Yeah.
a few days ago. So me and my husband were talking, and a while back we had talked about this decision that we weren't going to take. And he comes and tells me that he's decided that he's going to take that decision. And I'm like, immediately, I
Yeah.
felt I'm not heard.
Yeah.
And
We've had that discussion, and then he's going to do it anyway.
exactly. And I'm like, I'm not heard. And every bit of my body just wanted to scream. But thank God we were in a public place and we had to drive home.
Yeah.
So it was like a 5-minute drive. I got home, and in that 5 minute, I was able to calm down. When we
Right.
got to our house, I told him, look, I'm upset.
Yeah.
This would have never happened before. I would have started screaming. I would have just, you know, let loose, and 2-3 days of our lives would have just gone in anger.
Yeah.
Like literally 2 or 3 days, you know.
So,
And
what would happen? He'd walk into a room, you'd walk out of it, you'd scream at him, he'd go quiet, or he'd scream back. I'm just interested.
no, I would scream, he would be quiet, and for 2-3 days it would be like silent treatment.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, and kids also feel the environment, right? So kids would also be like, you know, silent. They know not to, you know, talk to mommy at this time. So 2-3 days of our lives, you know, would just go in doing nothing, or just basically them avoiding me.
Yeah, yeah.
And in this case, I was able to tell him, look, I'm upset. We talked about this, but this is what you decided. Now tell me why you decided this.
Yeah.
Before, I wouldn't even hear him. This time I'm like, tell me why you decided this. He reasoned it out. I said, okay, I understand, but I'm still not ready to talk about this right now. But tomorrow or day after, let's revisit this, and we can look at all these, you know, scenarios that you've gone through and why you took that decision. And then, yeah, let's come to an agreement together.
That's amazing. So you took each of his points, each of his considerations, you were able to look at them with a cool head and think, yes, this actually is a valid consideration. And have you also looked at it from this point of view? And this is why it may not actually work in our favor.
Yes.
So you're able to come to an understanding on each of the points with him.
Exactly. And then what happened was, this happened on Friday. So Saturday was beautiful. We did things together. And this particular message that I written to him 12 years ago, how, you know, I love him. And that came up on my stories, that saying on my history. And I'm like, look, this is still true. And he saw that. I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then he went on to write a message for me later on during that day.
And he posted this to Facebook?
No, he didn't. He wrote to me personally. But that was a breakthrough on his part, because he was able to express, which I don't remember him expressing in that way before.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, because I was able to stand not in anger, but in understanding and love. He was able to reciprocate.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's lovely. And did I read that he sent you flowers?
No, he sent me this beautiful poem.
Oh, he sent you the poem. He sent you the poem. And he's never written you a poem before?
No. And believe me, in this 13 years, I've begged him to.
Really? Oh, that's beautiful, Dhruti. That's wonderful.
I'm blushing.
No, well, do you know what? I don't actually have romance in my life right now, so I'm vicariously living through you. So I think that's a wonderful thing that you shared. And thank you for sharing so vulnerably with us today. And also, what I wanted to ask you is, you took on healthy relationships. It was out of a sense of curiosity initially, and then you discovered things along your journey, just as you've described. And now, post healthy relationships, what kind of space are you in? And you also shared with me that you wanted to invite people in your life, your friends and family, to take on healthy relationships.
Yes,
So
Hina. So thank you for asking this, because back in the day when I finished my school, I didn't know any better. When I finished uni, I mean, I wish something like this came through when I started dating and got married. So basically, when I got kids, so basically all our life, I mean, milestones in our life, right? If we can do this program, it would be so amazing, because then we can reflect on that particular phase, that particular part of our life, and have the tools to move on, have the tools, you know, for the future and our changing relations, our changing roles, or roles being added on. So I really want to invite everybody, like my siblings. I've asked my husband as well. Everybody should do this once, because ever since we're born, we go to school, and then we, you know, start working, in and out of relationships, getting married, kids. We never get this time to actually just pause and say, okay, that happened and that's not serving me. We need to clear these things, and we need to have these tools. Like, yeah, I'm so grateful that we have this right now.
Yes, because we so rarely invest in ourselves and prioritize ourselves. We're always in our duties, right? Of being a business person or excelling at work, of showing up as a mum, showing up as a daughter, and fulfilling all our roles and responsibilities. And actually to take some time out to look at yourself, to reflect, to discover who you are and who others are, how you can connect to them, and how you know, the places that we've lived, the experiences that we've had, the relationships that we have with different people in our lives, and the education and the career that we've had. I mean, the beginning of the program is that discovery, right, of what connects us.
Correct.
And I think that's such a beautiful part of the program. And then we move on through the program and we identify, just as you beautifully shared, actually that which also then gives us an access to peace, freedom, joy, and love. And that is actually discovering, why am I triggered, right? Why am I responding to these
This way.
past-based templates that I'm so used to being in that space? And I can actually interrupt the way that I've been operating, completely interrupt it, take on the building blocks that we have in healthy relationships and actually put them in practice in our lives.
Correct.
And so is there a specific tool from the Healthy Relationships Toolkit that you really enjoyed putting into practice for yourself?
Yes, for me, journaling is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, I don't ever want this, whatever is happening in our life to, you know, get piled on. So it helps us clear every day, every, you know, day by day. And it's really helping.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Dhruti, I've really enjoyed speaking to you about the program, and I also wanted to cover another aspect of the program, that when you get to the last third of the program, we also get a chance to have a look at what is our ikigai, our true purpose, what's our calling in life, and to expand on that, to discover ourselves newly in like a way in which we design and recreate ourselves. And so it's just a beautiful 10-week journey through all these different spaces, completely supported by a body of coaches and a safe space in which you can restore your relationships and your relationship to yourself and discover your true authentic self. So what I wanted to do was ask and invite everybody that's watching to share this interview with others and to join us on the masterclass, which is on Monday, the 4th of September at 5:30 p.m. And you can register for it at fitbanker.com/HR. Thanks very much for joining us, everybody. And thank you, Dhruti. Was there anything
Thank you,
else?
Hina, so much. No, that's it. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye, everybody.